Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the July version of the ACT Lead conference call. Is Liz on the line?
I am.
Liz, Matt told me you had something you wanted to say.
Yes. I've been at every single Leadership Summit and Lobby Day since they started, and I have truly enjoyed every single one of them, and seeing all of my friends, and I do consider all of you friends, but, unfortunately, or fortunately, we all have personal lives, and this year I'm not going to be able to attend. But I'm sure that all of you will welcome whoever it is that takes my place and give them all the great tips and help them to have a successful few days there too. But I'll miss all of you.
We'll miss you too.
We'll miss you too, Liz.
Thanks.
The first item up on the agenda was Matt wanted me to go over the Leadership Summit and Lobby Day, and besides Liz's announcement, I do have about 5 items to cover. So if you're making notes, the first one is that the registration deadline for the summit is July 27th. So we're about 2 weeks away from the deadline, and if you haven't already registered, you should do that as soon as possible. When you go through the process, it's relatively simple. You have to remember to fill out all the empty spots on it, or it'll tell you got to fill them out again. But you pick a roommate, you pick out the breakout sessions that you want to attend. I didn't know what they were beforehand, so I went in and printed out the list of the breakout sessions so I could look at them before I had to complete the rest of the registration. You can arrange your travel online with the site that you do your registration on. It takes you over to the travel agency site after that. Plan on arriving early afternoon on Sunday the 10th and departing hopefully after 1 o'clock. The events run up till 1 o'clock, so 3 o'clock or later is ideal to get you to the airport, depending on which airport you're at on Wednesday the 13th. That's first item. Second one is the Lights of Hope program this year. For some reason, the people in Washington decided to do construction work at the Capitol Reflecting Pool, so they're moving our event over to the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, which I am told was really a nice place as well, spectacular. The steps leading up to the memorial themselves have a landing about halfway up, and so that's going to be where the stage is, and people will be facing the memorial while they're hearing the program. The reflecting pool there is longer but a little narrower, but they're going to have that all filled up again like they did over at the Capitol end of the mall. The Lights of Hope fundraising efforts, of course, they want you to use the Can Raiser program, and if you raise a couple of $100, you can get a ticket for no charge to the can opener, which is on Monday night. They have announced that the money that you raise will also automatically be posted to the Ambassador Activity Center, and so you don't have to separately post that over to that item. It's now been live apparently for about a week or so. That leads to the third item, which is the can opener this year. The theme is an all-star celebration, so wear your college or team colors and get up in gears. However, there isn't actually going to be a costume contest, but that doesn't mean you don't have to, or that you may not want to not get into crazy gear that would reflect whatever all-star team you want to celebrate. The fourth item is August 1st. That's the next all-state and all-ACT leads conference call at 7:30. And we'll be sending out an email with the dial-in number and password code to get into the conference call. But that's for everybody that's on this call, would be on that call also on August 1st. The fifth item is the Ambassador Activity Center. There are still some individuals who are ACT leads and ambassadors that haven't posted on that yet. The cutoff for the national this year is August 31st, so if you have something to be posted, it should be posted as soon as you can. I've done it both ways. Once I've posted, most of the time I post right after I actually do the activity, because that's easy because you can remember what day it was when you did it and what you did. However, I've also had to go back and try to reconstruct what I've done for the past month and try to post it then, and that's much harder to remember what day it was and going through notes and records and whatnot, trying to figure out just what it is I did and when I did it. So I'd encourage you to post the activity. August 31 is when they're going to reset the clock for the following year. I'm not sure whether that's what Matt is doing this year or not, but that's what the national part of it is. So when you go to the National Ambassador Activity Center, it's going to start from zero again come September 1st.
Phil, this is
that
Matt.
Covers it.
Yeah, we will start from zero on September 1st. So
okay, so
we'll be in line with everybody else.
Yeah. So whatever you've done this year, please get it posted, and it'll be helpful for us as well as for the national lobbyists to get that kind of activity information. And it's helpful in convincing the legislators that people really care about what's going on. That concludes the items that I had. The next item on the agenda was a Michigan update with Andrew. Are you there, Andrew? Matt, maybe you want to do the Livingston County and postcards while we're waiting for Andrew.
Sorry,
Matt, are you still there?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Forget when I turn it on and off sometimes. Yeah, let me jump on the back of that and just do the federal updates right now. The big deal is, and it was just kind of announced today, that they're looking at the repeal of the Affordable Care Act and replacement with this new bill in the Senate. They're looking at a potential first vote on that, a procedural vote being next Tuesday. So it looks like the Senate is moving forward with that. No idea if that's going to pass or not, or if they have the votes for that or not, but they've made significant changes to what we'd say is already a pretty bad bill for cancer patients, and the new version is probably worse. Ted Cruz put forward an amendment that has been adopted onto the Senate version, which basically allows even more states to opt out of essential health benefits and other patient protections. It also has more impact on people with pre-existing conditions. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we're asking folks to vote no on this. We haven't done much around this in Michigan because our two senators have vowed to vote no on this, and they are not going to change their vote at all. So we haven't done very much. So we're kind of just going to wait and see how it all plays out on the national stage. But that's our position on the bill at this point. And it's kind of similar to what we went through in the House, which was they kept watering the bill down and taking more provisions away from consumers to try to gain more conservative support for it. And so we'll see if ultimately at the end of the day that's going to be something that they do. I'll just mention public support for this bill is extremely low. It's about equal with what this public support at Congress is. So it's very low. I think the last poll I saw was under 20%. So needless to say, it's not going to be a popular vote that anybody takes on this bill. And they'll probably do another CBO score over the weekend, they think, of the bill. I wouldn't imagine it's going to improve from what we saw before with 20-plus million Americans being uninsured, including 14-plus million uninsured by next year. It puts our Medicaid expansion in Michigan in jeopardy. It's just all around, it would be pretty catastrophic for cancer patients. So we're going to be watching that, but that's kind of where things lie, and we'll kind of go from there. I would say the one other thing that I find extremely interesting is in all this, the Congressional Budget Office scoring of this bill, it's all said that premiums are going to go up more, actually, if they pass this bill than they would if they don't pass it. And the number one knock on the Affordable Care Act was always that premiums are increasing too much. So I really don't know how that is all justified, other than the fact that it was a promise for the last 7 years that they'd repeal it. So we're going to watch that, and that's kind of where that sits. But it's ever changing. Every day we're getting new emails in about what has changed, or which senator is not going to support now, and which one's putting an amendment forward. And so it's everything could be thrown out by next Tuesday, but who knows? So that's that. Now to some more positive news. We've had some meetings with our members of Congress. You guys have sent me back, letting me know about some of the meetings you've had. A lot of very positive meetings, especially around cancer research funding. We've also had some positive meetings around sponsorship for the Pachita bill and the colorectal cancer bill. I know Phil and I and Andrew met with Senator Stabenow and Senator Peters' office to talk about Pachita. Senator Stabenow has already signed on from that meeting, so that's great, and we're slowly adding folks as we move along here. So we want to make sure as we move forward through August, if you haven't done so already, if you have not met, at least with the district office for your member of Congress, please do so before we go to D.C. in September. And please, when you do have these meetings, make sure you let them know you're going to be there in D.C. in September to talk to them about these issues. Kind of like we've done the last 2 years, we kind of started to change our strategy around these meetings in D.C., that we wanted to make sure we met in the district and let them know we're going to D.C. so that they can let D.C. staff know, hey, this person's coming to D.C. on September 12th, and they're going to be talking about these issues. I feel if they do that, and if you can make a phone call after your meeting, a month out or 2 weeks out, just to follow up with that person that you met with to say, hey, did you contact the D.C. staff? What we've found the last 2 years is we go into meetings where the majority of the members of Congress or their staff are knowledgeable about our issues. And so our conversations in D.C. are more along the lines of discussing their actual support or opposition to the bill, or whether they'll co-sponsor or not, and less an introduction to the staff to the bill. We don't really want our meetings in D.C. to be an introduction to our issues for these health, the staff or the member of Congress. We really want this to be the next step in what we did in the district. So if you haven't met with district staff, please do so. Please let them know you're going to D.C., and we want them to tell the D.C. staff that they're coming, that you're going to be talking about these issues, and then do a follow-up. That can just be a phone call. If you want to stop by the office again, you can do that. But we definitely want to follow up. And I think by doing that, we're going to have good meetings, just like we had in the last 2 years. I mean, in the last 2 years, we had more members sign on to our bills as co-sponsors in the last 2 years than I can ever remember, where they came in and they were like, yes. We had some people say, yes, we signed on last week. We had some people say, yeah, we will sign on. And so it was very successful. And that's the kind of meetings we want to have. So please, if you haven't done so already, please, now is the time to make that appointment and do that meeting. And then please follow up with them in a couple of weeks. Or I would say try to meet with them before the end of July if you can, and do a follow-up call in August so they're prepared for September. But our main asks right now are on the Pachita bill and the colorectal cancer bill. I know for some of you that have more conservative members of Congress, you've talked about cancer research funding, and that's great. As always, what we do in Michigan is pick the issues you think will work best with the lawmaker that you have. So those are our three main issues. They will be our three main issues, I'm sure, when we get to D.C. Pachita, colorectal cancer screening, loophole bill, and then cancer research funding. So please keep that in mind. And just to follow up on the Leadership Summit and Lobby Day update Phil gave, there will be calls coming up here in August, kind of prep calls to get you ready for that. As usual, once I get all the flight information of everybody, I will be matching you guys up in groups so that we can travel to the hotel together so nobody gets lost. We do have a couple of new people coming that may have been to D.C. before but haven't been there with our group, so we want to make sure everybody gets there. And then the other thing is we no longer have a Lakeshore division or any division. We have a large central division. We are going to probably plan and do some sort of a Michigan get-together on that first night after the awards dinner. Something short, maybe meet outside the restaurant there or in one of their open areas, just so Michigan delegation can see each other on that first night, just so we can make sure anybody that's new gets to meet some of the other people that are in the Michigan delegation, so that the rest of the week they kind of know who's Michigan and who are the people that they can talk to, and just so we can all see each other. And then I'll probably just go over a couple things if there's a couple things I need to go over at that time. But mostly it'll be like just a kind of a Michigan get-together really quick for maybe 30 minutes to chat and say hi and meet new people and be ready to go. So that's all I have on federal update and Leadership Summit and Lobby Day at this point in time. Andrew, were you able to join?
Yeah, hey, Matt, thanks.
Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Andrew for a Michigan update.
Yeah, thanks, Matt, and good evening, everyone, and I hope you're having a great summer. I have a really brief update because our lawmakers are now spending time back in district with family members and whatnot, what have you. But I just wanted to let everyone know that an oral chemo bill has been introduced. It's Senate Bill 492. It is introduced by or sponsored by State Senator Jeff Hansen once again. At this current point, ACS CAN is opposed to the legislation due to the opt-out provisions that are provided in the bill. And so we're working with Senator Hansen to see if we can't find some type of solution that gets us back into more of the positive advocating side rather than on the negative side. And so so we'll work through that this summer, but I would expect some type of movement in the fall, if not into the winter, before we hit the big holidays at the end of the year on the Senate side. In the House side, we actually have a champion this year, which is exciting, and that's Rendon. And thanks to Sandra and her crew for going up and meeting with her and asking her to get engaged and get involved. She is all teed up and ready to go, and she is working on a piece of legislation that we are in favor of, and hopefully will provide a leverage point in terms of trying to find some common ground that essentially creating a piece of legislation that we're in favor of and can support. And so so that work is being done in the House, and we expect that piece of legislation to be introduced once we get back in, once lawmakers get back into session in September. So we are doing some grassroots activity around it. Matt put together a great program in terms of focusing on a key area right now in Livingston County And thank you to those that have hopped in your cars and head down to Livingston County for relay meetings. But we are currently doing a postcard collection and drive in Livingston County for the two representatives that represent Livingston, Lana Tice and Hank Valpel. Both of them sit on key committees in the House. Lana chairs House Insurance, and Hank Valpel chairs House Health Policy, along with sitting on House Insurance. And so, we have been contacting, we're starting to get these postcards collected so we can contact them and tell them how important it is that this piece of legislation actually have its day, and it has a hearing, and we work to move it forward rather than get lost in the minutia of politics, which essentially happened last term. So we're working on that. So look for some of that this summer. We're looking to expand that program further across the state once we get to a point where we know that we're going to see some solid action in the House on oral chemo. Other than that, that has really been about it in terms of what we're seeing with state legislation. But once we get into the fall, and probably after you get back from Lobby Day, we'll have a little more robust updates. So with that, I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
Hey, Andrew, can you just mention Tobacco 21 really quick?
Oh, yeah. Tobacco 21 legislation has been introduced. And, of course, ACS CAN is involved in it. It's been introduced by Representative Brand out of Wyoming, which is just south of Grand Rapids, or Metro Grand Rapids area. And so, we're working with partners around the state to go ahead and try to get some type of movement on the legislation. At this point, I really think we're in a situation where our leadership in the House is not interested in trying to provide some type of reduction of rights for those to use tobacco, which I know is somewhat backwards, but they see it as too much government. And so, and especially when the Speaker is interested in running for Attorney General and is a big fan of the current Attorney General. When the Attorney General came out with an opinion against Ann Arbor's efforts to raise their age to 21, the Speaker was quick to hop on board and say that I agree with that, and how dare we go ahead and try to overregulate our people. They're 18, they're old enough to make their own decisions. And so it is introduced. Truthfully, I tell you, I don't see a clear way for the legislation to get passed. We all understand the impacts and understand the importance of it, but it's one of these situations where it's going to be like smoke-free air. Everyone understood the impacts and the positives from smoke-free air, but yet, it really takes a lot of education and a lot of effort to get some people to just say, yes, this is the right thing. This is something that we need to do. And so it's out there. If you have any questions about it, feel free to let me know, and we'll continue to work on it. But I can tell you right now, oral chemo is our number one priority in terms of trying to get something and pushed as far as we can into the process by Christmas. So.
Thanks, Andrew. This is Matt. And just for those that don't know, Tobacco 21 is very simple. Prohibits anyone under the age of 21 from purchasing a tobacco product. So, and Oregon just passed theirs, so there's another state that has joined on, and it's a growing thing. But I would just echo what Andrew said. We really see this effort getting bigger as things go on, and it's really going to take an effort like Smoke-Free Air, and in that vein, we are partnering with the Heart Association and the Lung Association to start a full-on campaign with all the heavy players in Lansing, kind of like what we did with the campaign for smoke-free air back in the day, to kind of put together a, honestly, 2 to 4 year plan of putting together a campaign to get this passed. So that's where things are, and we're in that really organizing phase right now of trying to get everybody on the same page and getting some resources out there that are all saying the same thing, so that we can move things forward in the right direction. So, and I'll just mention, for the sake of mentioning for Sandra, Rep. Dare Rendon signed on as a co-sponsor to the Tobacco 21 bill, and we never even asked her to. So she is also, for everybody else on this call, Dare Rendon is our new co-chair of the Cancer Caucus in the House, and she's a Republican from the Crawford County, Houghton Lake area, and she is a rock star for us so far in merely 6 months. Wouldn't you say, Andrew?
Yep. I would say she gets it, and so she's keenly plugged into all of our issues, which is going to be extremely helpful for us in the House, where we really haven't had that for the past couple terms. Yeah.
So we're looking forward to allying with her for the next 5.5 years as she's in the House, which will be really nice for us. And so with that, just to mention, Andrew said that we're doing the postcards. We have already started in Livingston County. I have good news there. Monday night I went to their ELT meeting, their event leadership team meeting for their Relay of Life, and we took them packets of 10 postcards, 10 for Lana Tice and 10 for Hank Volpel, and asked them to go out and get people to sign one for each of them. Regardless of where they live in Livingston County, we want everybody in Livingston County sending a postcard to both reps saying, we want oral chemo fairness. Everybody on the ELT left with a pack of postcards. So they were, and I think part of that's because some of you have gone down there and talked to them, so they already knew about it. They were ready. We run the activity. They were gearing to go. So that's happening right now. We're going to be at the relay there. It's on August 11th from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. and August 12th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I put that in the email that went out to everybody. I heard back from several people. If anybody else is available on those days, can come down for an hour or two or more to help us collect postcards, please do. Thank you to everybody that has signed up. Once I hear back from everybody, I'll kind of plug everybody into the times that work best, and hopefully have 1 or 2 volunteers there through the whole event. In our goal, it's an event that gets around 500 plus people that go through the door. So it's one of our larger Relay for Life events, and our hope is to get about half. If we can get 250 postcards sent into Lana Tice and 250 sent into Hank Volpel, that would be awesome. And what we're going to do is we're going to collect them all there on site, and then throughout the rest of August, September, and into October, we're just going to be dropping 12 to 20 postcards in the mail every week. So they just have a constant stream of people contact them about oral chemotherapy fairness. And of course, to coincide with that, we'll probably get people to place some letters to the editor at that time. We're going to do a series of action alerts, probably starting in August, with people sending emails to their reps and asking people to call their reps. And so you're really going to see in August, really cranking into September, us really starting to turn up the heat on oral chemotherapy fairness. And I think it's going to be successful this time. I really do. With Dare Rendon, we have a champion in the House that we never had last time. And so that can help us considerably. And we all know it's going to pass the Senate and go to the House. The House is going to be where we fight this thing out. And so, we really hope that you can help us with those things and look forward to those alerts and things like that. I know a lot of this will be heating up right when we go to D.C., so we will lean on our ambassadors a little bit more probably in September to carry the load and make phone calls and collect postcards and things like that. So with the postcard activity in August, we're focusing on Livingston County, but when we get into the fall, we're going to start putting it out there to anybody that wants to do postcards in their house district. We will get those made for you. We're going to make postcards specific for every rep. So all you have to do is write your little "please pass this" and post a stamp on it and send it out. We're ready to go on that. So keep that in mind that as we get in August, I'm going to reach out to anybody that says, hey, do you want to do postcards in your district? Some of you, if you're in some Republican districts, we may really want you to try to get as many postcards as you can in that time. But this thing's going to go into the fall, and so there will be time in September and probably even in October to get those in. And we really think that's going to really up the pressure on all these reps. So that's what we're doing. That's going to be our focus in the fall. Does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about, anything Phil mentioned, Andrew mentioned, or I did on the call today? All right. Anybody have anything to go to the call? Oh, yeah.
Sorry, it's Heather. For the summit, going back to that, do you get notification when we've registered, or do we have to let you know?
I know you registered, yes. So,
okay, and then
yep.
We have to book a flight by that July 27th too?
No, they give you a couple more weeks to book your travel. If possible, I would book that travel as soon as possible, just because for logistics reasons, the quicker I have everybody's travel information, the easier it is for me to kind of arrange things on my end. But they do give you, I don't know what the deadline is for travel, but they do usually give you a couple more weeks to book
I had
your
just been watching the flights and they were dropping, but I can book it whenever. So okay, that's all. Thank you.
The deadline is when your plane is full.
This is true.
Hey, Matt, you know what? Matt is always looking for someone to ride the train with him, too.
That's true. If you can't get a flight, I know the train schedule.
Okay.
So,
I'll book my flight.
Well, and to that note, we will miss Liz this year. I'm glad she let us know, and I know it was a really hard decision for her, and she'll be missed. But I look forward to seeing everybody else there, and we will take to the hill and do our best. And so, with that, I'm going to let everybody go. And if you have any questions or need any resources for Lights of Hope or anything like that, please let me know, and I'll get that to you. We have another month and a half here to do Lights of Hope, and right now, Michigan, we're doing pretty well, but if you can do your best to get out there and get some donations for some bags, that would be great. And if you get any offline donations, and you don't have a Michigan staff partner for ACS that you usually use, you can do what we've done in the past. You can send a check to me and keep it cash that you have, but send a check. Or just shoot me an email, and we'll figure out how to get the money processed and in. So we try to do that in a timely fashion so money's not sitting out there. And just for anybody that's new, ACS Canada doesn't want anybody going to D.C. with money for Lights of Hope. They want it all processed in local offices or sent to me so we can get it processed before we leave. So it's okay to have money and send it to me afterwards, too. So that's fine, too. Just please don't bring it to D.C. With that, I'm going to thank everybody for joining, and we'll talk to you again next month. And remember, August 1st is that nationwide all leads call. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.